Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And, you know, just when we think we're done with Star Wars, there's more drama, and it's usually behind-the-scenes drama.
It is. It always is.
It's always interesting. So, look, there clearly is some trouble over at Lucasfilm. I think The Rise of Skywalker was a make-or-break deal for Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy. And I think it might have actually been a bigger deal than we thought, and this might actually tie into the Obi-Wan delay, because it's being rumored that Kevin Feige, the Marvel guy, the word on the street is that Kevin Feige is seriously considering taking up the reins at Lucasfilm once his contract with Marvel expires, which would be a huge blow to the MCU, but great news for Star Wars fans. Would it be? Would it be? So we're talking about Kevin Feige taking over Kathleen Kennedy's job.
I don't disagree that we need to get Kathleen Kennedy out, though, because it just keeps happening.
You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that.
If it was a dude, you'd be allowed to say it. I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
if
she's not a dude.
If it was Keith Kennedy, you'd be allowed to say it because it's a guy.
I'm not going to disagree with that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, again, like, I thought we were over this. She was trending again yesterday on Twitter. And yeah, now even The Verge, you know, some other media outlets are talking about how the Obi-Wan delay is actually pointing to bigger issues at Lucasfilm. Like, it's bad enough that, you know, The Rise of Skywalker wound up being a rushed mess. A lot of people not happy with it. It underperformed at the box office for what was supposed to be an endgame level event. And now they can't get their shit together for Obi-Wan. And now people, even people who were before completely fine with Kathleen Kennedy, for it to trend on Twitter, that means a lot of people have had enough.
Well, they were fine with her when it was The Last Jedi and it was what they wanted. But then when they got The Rise of Skywalker and did what they liked, now they think she needs to be ousted too.
Right. So, again, we're seeing this double standard. So
yeah,
before we go into it any further, please subscribe. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We're a little over 90,000 subs, hoping for 100,000 soon.
Woo! So close, but yeah, we're stalling out. I don't know why.
It's January.
It's like the line's right there and I can see it. And I keep reaching for it, but then it's like, you know, we're just not moving forward anymore. It's like someone broke our legs and we just are crawling.
Use the Force, Geeky.
Well, use the Force, fans, and subscribe.
Make sure
force yourself to push the button.
Yeah. Make sure you're still subscribed, because there are shenanigans going on at YouTube almost daily anymore. We don't know what's going on, but they're making a lot of changes because of Kappa, I think.
Yeah, probably.
The next Karate Kid. Does anybody even watch that movie?
Yeah.
All right,
so it's for free. So
yeah, it's for free because it's one that's not worth watching. We got this covered. Kevin Feige reportedly has his eye on Kathleen Kennedy's job at Lucasfilm. We know he's working on a movie.
Well, we got this covered as the one who leaked the information about there being a problem in the first place, weren't they?
Yeah, and they talk about that a little bit. It's not a very long article. They talk about that. They talk about the fact that the same source that told them that there were specific scenes, whatever, that were leaked for The Rise of Skywalker months before it came out. You know, those leaks that were not true. They were the leakers, and they said that right now, internally, it's a mess. It's a mess over at Lucasfilm, and Kevin Feige is trying to get Kathleen Kennedy out of there so he can take over Star Wars, too.
Yeah, but like I said, again, I don't know if that's the best move either, because
I don't want more Marvel humor in Star Wars.
No, you know
I really
what?
don't.
And you know what else? I don't think Phase 4 on's looking too hot either, and they're really caving to certain requests to a point where I don't think it's going to be about story first. And I worry about the same thing happening with Star Wars. I mean, as long as you have good story first and you have more like The Mandalorian, character story first, I'm down with it. But I don't want more, you know, Captain Marvel. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so here we go. It's both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker came in for huge criticism for a variety of reasons, with box office returns for the sequel trilogy suffering huge drops with every new installment. Well, don't kill off the original trilogy characters.
Yeah, imagine that.
Imagine that. A lot of the blame has been placed at Kathleen Kennedy's feet.
Well, it is her. It's her door. Well, it is her. I mean, she ultimately, the buck ends with her when it comes to this.
Yeah, she has the final say on this stuff. She greenlit this stuff. Under her watch, the Star Wars brand has come under more scrutiny and faced more backlash than ever before. Yep. This is true. And I want to stop here because people keep saying, no, there was a lot of backlash with the prequels too. it wasn't like this.
No, it wasn't this bad.
I mean, there was a lot of people who were upset, but you know what? They came back after the Phantom Menace. Now, Attack of the Clones, there was a dip, but Revenge of the Sith did really well. Clone Wars did really well. The Star Wars toys, even the prequel era toys, always sold.
They did.
They weren't languishing on the shelf for 2 years, you know. So say what you will about it, but it was different. We were there. We remember.
Yeah, we were there. We know what we're talking about.
People complained, but not. It wasn't as dire as it is right now. The constant reports of behind-the-scenes turmoil have seen that. Yeah, I forgot about Josh Trank, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, Colin Trevorrow, Benioff, and Weiss. All either quit or got fired from in-development projects under her watch.
For creative differences.
More people have gotten fired from Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy's watch than have actually gotten to push the project through. And even then, Gareth Edwards got to do Rogue One, but it was massively different from what he originally envisioned, you know. And the only one who seemed to get through with 100% what he wanted to get through was Rian Johnson.
And that's what triggered all the shit that has come since.
That's what triggered people.
That's what triggered it all, you know. So
yeah, so they said rumors have indicated that the studio is pointing a lot of the blame in her direction.
Well, they should, because
they should.
At the end of the day, it's her fault.
How many chances can you get?
Well, more if you're a woman.
I don't know. I mean, I think that they were, and we were right before. People were like, "Oh, they're going to fire her after Last Jedi or after Solo," and we said, "No, they're not going to, because she's been in Hollywood forever." But you know, she has gotten an unusual amount of chances. Look at DC. DC, when they had a couple of misfires, they cleaned house. You know, and now it seems like their movies are doing much better than they were. But you know, I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars lost. Because I mean, when you figure the merchandise and you figure the theme parks weren't doing initially as well as they could have, and
but those choices aren't all on her, because the theme park, I mean, let's be honest, one of the big bonehead decisions they made was, let's open it up in 2 parts.
Yeah, make it based on the sequel trilogy that is declining.
That was Iger. So you can't blame that all on her on that one. But
the only Star Wars that everyone can universally agree that's pretty decent to come out of Disney's acquisition is The Mandalorian, and she was barely involved in that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just saying.
And the way it sounds is Iger took a lead on that one more than she did.
Yep. So now sources close to We Got This Covered have told us that Marvel's CCO is interested in taking over the position should it become available. While nothing is anywhere close to official,
it should be.
This comes to us via the same source that revealed Rey's connection to Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker way back in September, and that Blank would turn out to be a traitor. That was, well, you know who it is. So they've already proven to be hugely reliable when it comes to Star Wars-related intel. One drawback is that Lucasfilm are said to want a female replacement.
Of course, because, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm all about, you know, more women in Hollywood. But it seems like now Disney, it keeps pushing this mandate about females. And here's the thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best fit for the job. I mean, if they happen to be, then by all means, yes. But that doesn't mean just because I got boobs, I'm better at it than somebody who doesn't. You know what I mean?
That should be a shirt. Boobs make it better.
Boobs make it better.
Boobs make it all better. Well, I mean, even if somebody's a good director, it doesn't mean that they're good at running a studio either. That's a totally different, you know, skill set. There are some people who graduated from being like a producer or director to being able to run a huge operation like that. But
I think in this case, they need somebody like Feige or somebody like, you know, has the background that has a proven track record to pull it out. You can't just throw anybody in. Because there's been a trend lately, too, people have been pointing out. These writers that are assigned to these movies, like the, you know, for like the WandaVision lady is now in charge of Captain Marvel 2, writing it and all that. They have like jack credits up till like 2 years ago, and they're suddenly in charge. Bambi writers, suddenly a woman with nothing really, suddenly in charge of Bambi. And it's like, you know, when you're in dire like you are with Lucasfilm, wouldn't it make more sense to bring somebody in, male or female, that has the experience to do the job?
That is the logical thing to do. Unfortunately, Lucasfilm has proven that they don't really follow logic. You know, but I think Disney
has proven they haven't followed logic.
Disney has. Disney was basically asleep at the wheel. I think Bob Iger was asleep at the wheel. He thought Star Wars would just run on its own. And so he wasn't really paying attention because Marvel was doing really well. He's like, oh, it's Star Wars. You can slap Star Wars on anything.
He made jokes about it.
Yeah, we don't even need to advertise Galaxy's Edge. People are just going to show up.
Because it's Star Wars.
Because it's Star Wars.
And then look how well that turned out.
Yeah, the brand is damaged. And look, I mean, they're even calling out on The Verge. They said that the production delays in Obi-Wan, it's a bigger part of a Star Wars problem, which is basically the franchise is in decline. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the fact that they're pushing things around like this shows, again, they don't have a plan.
They learned by now.
Yeah, I like this. They're like, Star Wars is in a weird moment.
Okay.
Weird moment. The Rise of Skywalker was met with lukewarm reception and didn't perform as well as the box office as the other two. Many critics claim the film was rushed. They said it was rushed. And now they're talking about Star Wars fatigue. Iger added that although they accepted multiple pitches, the number of Star Wars projects in development is probably less than people think because they don't want Star Wars fatigue.
It's not Star Wars fatigue. It's what people are fatigued over is bullshit things that you're feeding them.
Yeah.
It's like the stuff you're giving everybody is garbage. People, if you gave them good Star Wars, they'd be all about it, like The Mandalorian. Star Wars fatigue, my foot.
Yeah, delays are never good, but they're also not inherently negative. But they're saying, hey, we're not going to rush the next movie out, but we don't know what it is, and it's coming out in 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's not rushing it out, because when they bought Lucasfilm, when Disney bought Lucasfilm, I thought that was kind of a stretch. They bought Lucasfilm, 2012? And they were like, oh yeah, in 3 years we're going to start a whole new trilogy. And I'm like, George Lucas took a 16-year break between trilogies. And it's like, come on.
But come on, you also thought, too, he had a big break between the sequel trilogy and that, so we figured he'd have a plan, which he did.
Yeah, he did.
And they just thanks, George, ripped up and threw it out the window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you expect?
We're going to be a lot more careful next time, but now it sounds like that caution is being extended to Obi-Wan. Could this Kevin Feige thing possibly have to do with the Obi-Wan delay, too? Could they be like, well, if Kathy's going to be out the door, whoever takes her job might have a different idea for Obi-Wan, so let's just put this on the back burner for now until the next boss comes in. It seems like everything's being pushed back.
I don't know. I mean, we did think that she was going to be gone no matter what next year.
Yeah, when
we thought she was going to leave with Iger. So the Watcher let her stay there next year. But
it just seems like everything's in limbo.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It seems like they're pushing things back. It seems like who's this guy? I don't want you. Anyway, it looks like they're pushing things back, and it does seem like they're almost stalling for time. But they said that she was trending. She was trending on Twitter, and not for the right reasons.
Well, yeah, because it's not just now that it's they're mad about the Rise of Skywalker. They're all mad about it, so they're all going to complain. Why is he wearing a tux?
I don't know. I think he's talking about the Golden Issue Awards. They have their own awards thing on comicbook.com.
No, they all do. They have the Anime Awards and all that too. It's like, come on.
Yeah, but so Rob Liefeld, Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld. At this point, you have to wonder how Kathleen Kennedy holds on to her title.
Exactly.
Reads a tweet from Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld. How many productions are going to get shut down on her watch?
It just keeps happening. It's not like, one or two you can say, okay, coincidence. This is an ongoing pattern. And then by the time the stuff gets done, the audiences are getting madder and madder and madder, and they're losing fans by the month.
Yeah, her contract, I mean, either way, I think she's going to be done next year. They're not going to renew her contract. She's getting up there. I mean, she's almost 70, I think. I mean, she's been doing this for a long time. I think she's going to be done, but it could be careful what you wish for. Mm-hmm. We might actually get somebody worse.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not saying Feige will be worse, but I mean, at this point, the only people I would trust Star Wars with would be Favreau and Filoni after what they did with the Mandalorian.
But they won't, because they're guys.
Two guys, yeah.
I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter if they'd be the best choice. They're not the right gender, which is sexism. I'm just saying.
It kind of is.
Sexism works both ways. I'm just pointing that out there.
Speaking of sexism, let's go to Mary Sue. Did you know if you want to get a script right for a highly anticipated show, so you delay production, Twitter will call for your head? Well, that's what's happening to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy over the Obi-Wan TV series.
No, it's not just the Obi-Wan TV series. If you stop spinning bullshit, you might actually be a reliable news source.
Yeah, because sometimes we actually find ourselves agreeing with the Mary Sue. It's just the way they tackle it, mm-hmm. But yeah, this is just the latest of a series of really bad decisions. A series of directors making a bunch of noise about a director coming onto a project just to get fired a couple months later. Movies being rushed out or pushed back. So far, the only thing they've gotten right, honestly, is The Mandalorian.
Well, how come, what's hilarious? Did you know that if you want to get a script right for a highly anticipated show, Twitter will call for your head? Mary Sue is one of the first people to call for anybody's head if any little rumor goes on Twitter they don't like.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wasn't the one person on here having to keep your Captain Marvel hot takes to yourself, Twitter, because people didn't agree with her opinion of Captain Marvel? And they wrote a whole story about it and went on a rampage on Twitter, and they made an article about it for their quote-unquote news source. So I don't think, potato, pot, kettle. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, they're picking out some of the worst possible tweets. I mean, I don't believe in...
Oh, that's beyond
names,
Yeah, that I agree. That's beyond.
But you can point out that on Kathleen Kennedy's watch, there's been a lot of turmoil, that the Star Wars brand has declined. Now, I do blame Bob Iger for a lot of that, too. Mm-hmm. I think he just wasn't paying attention.
I think Bob Iger's too busy trying to assimilate everything that he doesn't care. As long as he gains the property, whatever happens next to it. Make just do a remake, whatever.
The only reason Marvel worked was because of Kevin Feige, who came with the acquisition. He was actually over at Paramount, before. But I think he thought the same thing was going to happen with Star Wars, that there was a plan. You had somebody in charge who knew what the basic roadmap was for the next 5-10 years, and that was not the case.
Irony. Wasn't Rachel Leishman the one who was making the Marvel, keep your Captain Marvel hot takes to yourself?
Yeah, Dear Men. Yes.
Yes, that was my. So people are calling for her head because on Twitter, because of some rumor says the woman who went to Twitter and had a meltdown over Captain Marvel tweets.
Yes, she did.
But she picks the one really, really bad tweet. I'm sure for every one tweet like that, you have 100, 1,000 other ones that aren't even anywhere near as bad and vulgar as that one. And I do agree that tweet was way out of line.
So, my opinion. No
one wants to hear it because you're a guy.
Nobody cares.
I'm kidding. Just go ahead.
Just push me out of the way. No, my opinion is, if there's going to be a change, I am wondering if it wouldn't happen before or shortly after the earnings call.
Well, that's coming up next week. Well, not next week. The week after. What, the 4th?
It's the 4th.
February 4th. So a week from Tuesday.
The reason I'm saying this, and I'm not saying it would happen, but it definitely wouldn't happen before then, but it might not, if it happens. I personally think they're going to let her write her contract out, but if they get rid of her before, it might be not long after the earnings report, because they have to explain the Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. What the hell happened, Bob? The last earnings call, you said the Rise of Skywalker was going to be a slam dunk, home run, endgame level event, and anytime anybody had any criticism of Star Wars, there were media outlets that were like, and even investors who were like, hey, what's up with Star Wars? And he just kept directing everything back to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all he wanted to talk about was Disney Plus. That's all he cared to talk about anyway in the last investors call, was Disney Plus, Disney Plus, Disney Plus.
Okay, The Mandalorian was great, Bob, and you've got this Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Bob. When's that gonna happen? Oh, we just heard it got canceled. It's in limbo. It's only going to be 4 episodes. What's up with that, Bob?
Yeah.
Where are we going to get our bang for a buck? Where's the Rogue One spinoff, Bob? When's that going to happen? And he's going to be like, I don't know. What's the next Star Wars?
He's just going to focus on whatever he wants to talk about, Disney Plus or whatever, and he's going to talk over any question I ask him anyway. He's not going to answer anything other than what he wants to talk about.
Disney will absolutely drum, they'll beat the drum that they had $7 billion movies last year. It was a banner year, but they also have to be realistic. That was probably the best year Disney is ever going to have.
They said that was like all the stars aligned kind of thing.
Right.
That's never going to replicate or happen again.
Nope. I mean, they're still going to do well, I'm sure, but now it's like it's the end of Star Wars. It's the end of Avengers, and now you have to kind of, where do you go from here, and do people still care? Mm-hmm. And, I don't think they do, not like they used to. Clearly, with Rise of Skywalker, it shows that the interest has declined. So it's going to be a really interesting earnings call for sure. Definitely.
I agree.
Okay, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm not going to disagree with you just because you're a man. If you're right, you're right.
All right, so we're going to keep an eye on this. I'm just shocked that we're still having the same conversation we had 2 years ago. Like, why is Kathleen Kennedy still there?
I don't know. And Twitter wants to know, too. And, depending what outlet you go to, some people say it's a good question. Some people say it's sexist.
Twitter demands answers. Twitter demands answers.
Twitter always demands a lot of things.
Twitter demands a lot. So we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.